This is my 2017 Dyna Lowrider S. I love this bike. First thing I did when I got the bike is change out the headlight because the stock one was not very bright. I got the LED headlight off Amazon, which is like the same as the Daymaker. 2200 lumen low beam, 4000 high beam. You almost don't even need high beam if you set it up right. Great light. It was $50. Harley sells them for $350. You have to excuse how dirty the bike is. I haven't cleaned it yet after the last ride. Then I got Lucky Dave's, the Lucky 13 11-inch bars. So I got 3-inch pullback, very comfortable bars. I'm not that tall, so I got the 11s. I had to get Magnum custom brake line for the hydraulic brakes, ABS, and plus 6 inches clutch. They're both plus 6 inches. I probably could have went 5, but you see I crossed them up there. Looks decent. The block comes as a 2-piece block. You have to get the whole shebang, because the way the stock ones are, you can't take this apart just like on these, so you gotta get the whole thing. They were expensive, $450 for the brake lines and the clutch. The bars, like I said, very comfortable. I love riding with them, but what a pain in the ass, man. I did them myself. Wire holes are not very big, if you can see it in there. I move my hand. Now that's the real tough side, because there's 3 wires in there. I definitely could have made the holes a little bigger, and when I went to go thread the bolts in from the bottom to mount them, I was getting a couple threads and it would lock up like it was cross threading. I actually had to run a tap through it, so I was a little unhappy with them when I was installing them, because they could have made the holes bigger for the wires, and you'd think they'd have clean threads for all the money you pay, but they're on. Figured it out. Next, I got the Lepera seat. It's not, even though it looks like a 1-up, it's not a true 1-up. It's a little lower profile. It pushes you forward 2 inches or an inch or so, which I like. Again, I'm short. I had forward controls that I had put on, and honestly I hated them. They're only good when you're going slow. If you really ride hard like I do and fast, the forward controls suck. I put the mids back on. The forward controls were, I didn't have as much control of the bike, number one, and number two, once you got up around 80 miles an hour, your feet were getting blown off the pegs. I hated it. So I went back to the mids. I did the Vance & Hines Pro Pipe. I wish I got the shorter version of the 2-into-1. I started out with the FP3 just so I could put the pipe on. And after I did it, I felt like the bike was being held back a little bit, didn't have enough flow. So if you could see, I drilled out the end cap on the baffle and woke it up nice. You need one of these is very handy. It's a slide hammer for getting that baffle out, because mine did not want to come out by hand. Let's see, next, the TrueTrack stabilizer. Anybody that's ever ridden a Dyna knows the head shake you get on these things. Once you get over about 80, 85, this thing was the best $400 I ever spent. You got one in the front, and then you got one in the back there. Can you see it? There it is. There's the back one. That keeps the motor from going side to side, because the motor has rubber motor mounts, and it can have side to side movement with those rubber mounts, and your primary is bolted to your motor, and the swing arm is bolted to the primary. So the only thing, so when the motor starts to go back and forth side to side, so is your swing arm. That's where your wobble comes from. That TrueTrack totally takes it out. I've been up to 115 miles an hour with this bike, and it was solid, not even a wiggle. Let's see, next, I sent it to a tune shop to get the Thunder Max programmer put in with wideband sensors. Now with this exhaust, the Pro Pipe Vance & Hines, it only comes with ports for your stock narrowbands. So they had to weld on exhaust bungs for the wideband sensors right there. The widebands are a lot bigger. Those are welded on. So now it's got the Thundermax, and I told the shop that I want an aggressive cam with a nice power band. Well, the tune shop that he bought the cam from talked him out of the Redshift 576, which is the more aggressive cam, and it also sets you up for later if you do higher compression stuff. Then you don't have to change the cam out again. Well, they talked him into the 587 because they're like, oh, this is for, stock 110. Well, guess what? It really didn't do anything for the bike. And I'm going to show you the dyno sheet that really didn't do anything. I think the only gain I got was probably because of the Thundermax and the good tune they did at the shop. Okay, now, here it is. I'm going to right there, and let's see, red is after. So before I had 91 horsepower, 112 torque. After I had 95 horsepower, 115 torque. Now, that's pretty sad, for doing a good tune and can. So what I did was I bought the 576 cam, and when I was buying it from the same place, they were trying to talk me out of it too. I said, listen, I already got the 587, it didn't do nothing. So they sent me the 587, and I did it when I did the handlebars here at home. They did the quickie adjustable SNS push rods when they did the 587, so when I put the 576 cam in, it was easy. SNS has a great video on changing out a cam for Harleys. I followed that to the letter, and it worked out great. Make sure you get all new gaskets. The cam chest has, I believe, 3 O-rings, 2 on the chest, and then 1 on the oil pump pickup. The oil pump pickup's the most important, but I did the other 2 also because I had it apart. Now this thing is a ripper. I don't have a dyno sheet yet for it, but it eats my buddy's Fatboy S with the 114 on it. Eats it for breakfast. It's amazing. We came out onto an on-ramp, and third gear from a roll, like 2,000 RPM. There was a car in the right lane. He sees my lights, because I was behind him, sees my lights go to the left, because I went behind the car all to the left lane, and he was already on it, on the on-ramp, and then I hit it. I came past him in 5th gear, like he let off the gas, I thought, and he didn't. I asked him when we stopped, because I thought he did. I blew past him in 5th. He was already in 6th on it. I shifted 6th after I passed him. So that 576 made this thing amazing, and I'm going to do higher compression pistons later, so I don't have to change the cam now because that 576 is going to shine even better once I get the higher compression. What else did I do here? Got the DK plate mount. Stock bolt is not long enough because it mounts to the bottom shock mount. When I took the bolt out, it was just long enough to get the nut, so I got a 1/2 inch longer bolt, which was a little too long. I actually had to put a spacer in between there. I had a nice aluminum spacer that I used. Probably 3/8 would have been enough, maybe a little less. But that went through, and I painted it black because the grade 8 bolt was gold. I put the passenger pegs on with the Arlen Ness pegs. I got different front pegs too, so everything's all black. Taking the old plate mount off is pretty simple. I got a right side standoff to put on the left side, so now there's no more of that ugly stock hanging down plate mount. That's gone. I had to unplug the wire and pull the pins out of the plug, and then pull the wires all the way back with just the metal ends on it, and then thread it back through, which wasn't that bad. As you see, I got it up on the jack now. I got a piece of wood across here in the front, all the way across to the other side. This side's got just a piece of plywood because it's that piece that comes down, and this has got a 2x4, and it jacks up pretty level, as you can see. But again, this 110 will eat a 114 for breakfast. Now, granted, his is stock, mine's not, but I mean, he can't dance with this beautiful lady anymore. She is much too fast. I love the way this bike handles, especially now with the True Track. The True Track even helped in the turns. You can just hammer, and this bike is solid. If you're holding the handlebars steady, it's steady. Yeah, later I'm going to do higher compression pistons, and then I'll get a dyno on it. It's going to be, I think, pretty amazing. I'm pretty excited to do it later, probably in the spring. But yeah, that's about it. I don't think I did anything else here. It's got a different shifter pedal. Looks kind of like a dirt bike one. Pretty cool. But yeah, that's my Dyna Lowrider S. And when you get your exhaust, I would recommend get one that accepts wideband sensors, and get one that's premierly made for your bike. Because this Pro Pipe, I feel like, isn't. Should have maybe got like a Bassani Road Rage or something. But everything worked out, and this sucker rips. So I hope that helped you guys. I know that I didn't say how I did everything because I'm not a pro mechanic, and there are very good videos with professional mechanics telling you exactly how to do things, and that's how I did it. I followed it to the letter. On the brake lines, I got the positive pressure bleeder to push up. I started on this side, went back to that side, and then I did it again, and then I bled out the master cylinder. I got all the air out. The ABS system solenoids are closed when the bike's not running, so I was able to bleed it without any problem here. I didn't have to take it to Harley or anything. It was a little bit of a pain in the butt. I had my dad here to give me an extra hand and watch the reservoir. Every time the reservoir filled up, I just sucked it out with my vacuum bleeder. I just sucked it right out of the master cylinder reservoir, and we kept going. And like I said, worked out great. Didn't have to bring it to Harley and pay money. But yeah, this bike's awesome. I'm gonna get the flush mount black fuel gauge, and I'm looking for the cap in a different brand because Harley's trim ring is like a stick-on, like double-sided tape stick-on, and I don't want to do that because once it gets a little gas on it, it's gonna come right off most likely. So I'm looking at some other brands. I forget the one I ordered, but it looks almost the same. And yeah, that's about it. Oh, I also SNS lifters when the cam was originally done, because the stock lifters are junk. So if you do a cam, you should do the lifters too. And yeah, that's about it.